Okay, so we are going to keep talking about inequalities, and first thing we're going to do is watch this short video. So on that video, what did you all notice? And what did you wonder? Okay, so now we're going to start talking about inequalities. And with inequalities, there's a few different things. So first off, an inequality is very similar to an equation, except instead of an equal sign, you have an inequality sign, which are these arrow-looking things, okay? So in this example, one way we can read an inequality, because a lot of times that's where we get confused, is like this. So x is to the right of 3. And if we look down here, it's x. The arrow is pointing to the right of 3. And this says x is greater than 3, because anything on the right of 3 on a number line is greater than 3. On the other hand, over here, we have an x, my arrow is pointing left, and then we have a 3. So we have x is to the left of 3, which means is telling us x is less than 3. Okay, so because anything to the left of 3 on a number line is less than that value. So sometimes when we are talking about inequalities, I'm trying to figure out where to put my webcam, we talk about solutions to inequalities, okay? And solutions are just values that make the inequality true. So here we have this problem. Which of the following is a solution to that inequality? And the first thing we have to think is, wait a minute, what does that inequality say? Okay, so what does that inequality say? This reads x is greater than 16. So a lot of times the first thing we have to do is take our inequality and put it into words so we know what kind of number we're looking for. So I'm looking for something that is greater than 16, and if I look at my answer choices, the only one I've got there is 18. So if I were to take 18, substitute it in here, I would say 18 is greater than 16. Is that true? Yes. Therefore, that 18 is a solution to that inequality. All right, so our next set of problems, we have, instead of just looking for one solution, we have to test 3 of these. Okay, so it says which of the following solutions are solutions to the inequality -8 is less than 2x plus 2. Okay, so how do we solve this? Well, we're going to substitute in each of these values for x. Okay, so plug them in, substitute them in, is what we're going to do. So here we have these problems worked out. So I took -5, I substituted it in for x, I figured out this side of the equation, so I had -8 is less than -10 plus 2, which leaves me with -8 is less than -8. And I have to ask myself, is that true? Is -8 less than -8? Then I look at number 2. This number was -10. So instead of writing x, I put a -10 there. 2 times -10 is -20, plus 2 is -18. So I'm left with negative 8 is less than negative 18. And again, I ask myself, is that true? Lastly, I have negative 4. So I do 2 times negative 4 plus 2, which is negative 8 plus 2, which is negative 6. Negative 8 is less than negative 6. Is that true? So the only one that gave us a true statement was the last one, right? Because negative 8 is less than negative 6. That is true. So when I was putting in my answer, I would just say the third option, or negative 4. That is the only solution to that inequality. Okay, now I want you all to look at these two graphs of inequalities and which one of those, or how are those graphs similar and then how are they different? Okay, so I'm sure you probably noticed that while both lines were going in the same direction and they started at negative 1 on both graphs, we have an open dot here and a closed dot here. So the open dot means that negative 1 is not included in the solution. Okay, so it means all the values greater than negative 1, because that's what direction it's going, are solutions to the inequality, but negative 1 doesn't work. Okay, so we use an open dot when we say x is less than or x is greater than, and these are the symbols for that. X is less than, because we read it left to right, and then x is greater than blank. This closed dot means that negative 1 is included. So negative 1 is part of the solution to some inequality. And we use that when we say x is less than or equal to. Same thing, x is greater than or equal to. And whenever we write the symbols for x is less than or equal to, we use the less than symbol with a line under it. Same thing with greater than, we use the greater than symbol with a line under it. Okay, and so sometimes it's easy for me to think, okay, these have more going on, so if they have more going on, then that means that's a closed dot. Okay, if there's a line, then the dot is closed. So, there are just the basics of inequalities. So you all are going to do a few practice problems on your own and then head over to Delta Math, and then you will be good to go and ready for tomorrow. Bye.